Good morning. Most of you know me. If not, my name's David Way. Been coming to church here for probably over 15 years. I don't remember how many. And I stand up here sometimes once a month and I tell you that prayer works every time it's tried. I'm the emotional person, so she's not. She'll be fine. So I just want to say I'm just here to introduce my niece, Cassie. And it's actually a miracle, I think, that she's standing here. She'll tell you about that, but longer part to the story we can get to later if you're interested, but I just want to know that prayer does work, miracles happen. She's evidence of that. There's many others in your lives, I'm sure, if you start to look, but I've known Cassie all her life, all 30 years, and I prayed fervently, and God answered prayer, and she is changed life, a new creation in Christ. So, Cassie Calkins.
Thank you.
Gaskin.
Good morning. Can you all hear me? Okay, great. First, I want to thank Pastor Darrell for inviting me out here to share this story. Of course, it is my own story, but it's quite powerful for me. So thank you. Thank you for having me here today and for you all to take the time to listen. So I grew up in Phoenix, Arizona, to a family that was not, they didn't have faith, right? So I didn't grow up in church. I didn't grow up with really proper guidance. I was from a very young age kind of in a place where I had to figure it out for myself, take care of a younger sibling, and I held that belief of I've got to figure it out on my own my whole life. With that being said, I also was, from a very young age, I had this void, right? So I could be in a room full of people that loved me even, friends, family, didn't matter, and still feel not a part of this emptiness, this screaming, internal screaming almost, right? It doesn't matter where I was at, what I was doing, I always felt uncomfortable in my own skin. So what that looked like for me was a lifetime of searching to fill this void. And I did it from a very young age with alcohol, heavy drugs, men, experiences, impulsive decisions, getting myself into situations and involved with people that tore me down. I've been in jail. I've seen very dark places. I spent the majority of my life as a drug addict and an alcoholic, and very alone, thinking that all of these things and these people were going to fill this void that I had, right? It didn't matter what I did. Sometimes it would work for a little while, and I would be okay. And other times I would be sitting here full of all of these substances or with these terrible people who I thought loved me and who I thought I loved, and still wondering why I felt so empty. I had tried multiple times to get sober by myself. I tried to build a family, and I felt uncomfortable even in that. No matter where I went, I changed geographically, It doesn't matter where I went, what I did, who I was around, I always felt empty inside. So through these different trials and tribulations of trying to get sober, trying to live a normal life, I couldn't hold a job. I didn't have relationships with my family. I ended up completely shutting everybody out. And I was very alone in an abusive relationship for about 8 years. Mentally, emotionally, physically, the whole thing, very alone. Too afraid to reach out to anybody, ashamed, full of shame, oh my gosh. And really broken. And I didn't know what to do, where to go. I had just had this opportunity to go to Maine and get sober, and it didn't work. I came back home. I was living in Texas at the time, and I relapsed. Nobody wanted anything to do with me anymore. I had plenty of opportunities to get help, and I ran them into the ground every time. So I'm sitting here, just relapsed, facing homelessness, nobody to turn to. And a friend of mine reaches out and invites me to go to church with her. I hadn't been to church since I was a kid, It was really an uncomfortable thing for me, but I told her that if I stopped showing up for her, that meant I relapsed, and I wasn't ready to share that with her yet. So I showed up, and I walked in, and everybody was singing, and I was like, oh, great, they're singing. You know, it was an uncomfortable thing for me, but I sat through it, and I was sitting there broken as I can be, and I just remember tuning in just ever so slightly to what the pastor was talking about. And I don't know the story exactly, I can't quote the Bible, but he was talking about people that were lost in life. And I'm not even kidding you guys, when they asked, you know, is there anybody here who is lost? My arm just shot up. I mean, it wasn't even me. Like, I'm telling you, it just like a magnet. And I broke all the way down, bawling, ugly crying, and the entire church surrounded me. And they put their hands on me, and they held me, and I was just in this, I had fully surrendered. I see it now, that's what that was, right? I had nowhere else to turn to. I had no more answers. And right when I needed it, the power of Christ came to me. I was able to hear the message that I needed to. And from that point on, things started to kind of change. You know, not very quickly at first. Well, in retrospect, it was very quickly. But I got this random call from my uncle that lives 1,500 miles away in Wisconsin, who I haven't had a relationship with my whole life, and asked me, you know, like, what's going on? Like, I'm here to help. And I shared with him every bit of truth that I could. I didn't hold anything back because I didn't have anything else to do. I had no more answers or ideas, right? And him and my aunt, they offered to help me. And it was a little rough. I missed the first flight because I was afraid. But I took the chance, and I got on a plane, and I flew up here. And I left everything that I had known for so long behind, my things, my relationship, my family, my memories, whether they were good or bad, right? And I had been so comfortable in my misery for so long. So taking this chance to try something I'd never done before was very scary. And still at this point, I didn't really have full faith. I wasn't, you know, church was still kind of uncomfortable. But I remembered that day at church that I had and that experience and the way that I had felt, and I leaned into that. And I kept coming to church. I started doing all of the hard, uncomfortable things that were good, which I've never done that before. I always led to the things that were not good. I went through treatment. I moved to Kiel, Wisconsin for sober living. I did the program, and I have, you know, during this phase, my faith has grown tremendously, right? It's the little synchronicities that I notice in the day, right? Like just the little things that line up just too perfectly. Like, how does that happen? You know, like there's no way you can't tell me that Jesus is not real, right? There's no way, because this is my life, and this is happening to me, and this is something that I'm experiencing in the raw. And so I continue in that, you know, like I'm not at a point where I can quote the Bible. I haven't explored Bible study yet. I don't know scripture. I come in here and I sing the songs and I listen to the message and I apply it to the way that I need to hear it. I spend a lot of my time sharing my story with other addicts and alcoholics. I'm very involved in the addict community in Sheboygan and all over the state. Actually, I travel for events and I speak to rehabs, and I do what I can to show people that a spiritual life is there's not really quite words for it when you're coming from such a dark place. Somebody recently told me that faith is built in the darkness, right? So, you know, you hear a lot of people talk about all these wonderful things that happen in their lives, and like it's very easy to see God then. But when you're in a dark, dark place, and I'm able to see just that little glimpse of light, that is what saved my life. And that little glimpse of light did not come from me, right? That came from Christ. That's all there is to it. There's, you know, I was searching for a long time for like a solid explanation, right? Like, I have to do this on my own, right? There's got to be like a black and white laid out way that life goes. Man, if there's anything that I have learned, make a plan, and God will laugh at you, right? Because it's not about me and what I think. It's about him and his will. And now that I'm aware of that and I get to live, trying to live in his will rather than mine, the weight has lifted off of my shoulders. I don't worry about the things that I used to worry about. I live my day-to-day in gratitude and love and kindness and just grateful for the little things and the things that used to make me feel uncomfortable. I don't have that void that I was trying to fill for so long. I don't have that void anymore. I have that the whole time, my whole almost 30 years of searching to feel okay inside. I feel okay. I can sit with myself. I can sit in a room full of people and feel the love and share love. And I'm living a normal life, a life that I'd always dreamed of but could never quite reach. And that's because of the power of Christ and the power of God working in my life and other people's lives. Yeah, I don't know that I have very much more for you guys, but I'm very grateful to be here. It is a miracle that I'm here, and I'm very excited to see what life has in store for myself and the people that I love. I think that's another beautiful thing, is seeing God work in other people's lives, right? And seeing the power of prayer. There are things, y'all, I have prayed for things and I'm watching them come true. That is crazy. That's not something I ever thought I would be able to say or recognize even. You know, you look for him and he will find you, and he will pick you up out of the darkest hole and carry you until you can walk side by side. Thank you.